Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever applies to you. Welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Julia. I'm a contemporary singing specialist based in Australia, and today I am reacting to Tool performing their song Sober. So, how did this reaction come about? Well, I don't mean to name names, but someone who very much loves the band Tool suggested that I react to them. So, here we are. Let's get into it.
Just behind me, shouting every step I take, making every promise empty, pointing every finger at me, waiting like a stalking butler, who upon the finger rests, murdered now the battle rusty, just because the sun has come. Mother Mary, won't you whisper something but the past and done? Mother Mary, won't you whisper something but the past and done? Why can we not be sober? Just want to start this over. Why can't we sleep forever? Just want to start this over.
Ooh. Sorry, give me 2 seconds just to orientate my thoughts. Okay. Let's start with what my first thought was. The way that the music is set up, it makes me think of something that is very unstable. That's because we've got some of those microtonal slides going on in the guitar. We've got that distortion coming through and the music choices, so the actual progression itself and what each of the instruments is doing makes me feel like I'm in some kind of like dystopian movie where nothing is concrete and things are broken and desperately trying to function, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but that's how the music is making me feel from just the tonal choices that are happening, but also connecting that with his facial expressions and his body language. So, I mean, his alignment, this curving thing, any conservative pedagogue is going to take one look at that posture and be like, oh no, oh no, no, couldn't, no, ooh, mm-mm. And I don't know, from his facial expressions and his knees knocking, this reminds me more of if I'm watching musical theater and someone has immersed themselves in like a role. They've become this thing that they're singing about because that's part of supporting the text. So let me have a look at the lyrics just quickly because I'm interested to see how all of that connects. The music, his physical expression, it fits. His physical expression fits this instability that's in the music going on behind him. I don't mean that the musicians are out of time. That's not what I mean. I mean the feeling that the music generates makes me feel like something unstable or not so great is happening. So let me just look up these lyrics so that I can... There's a shadow just behind me, shrouding every step I take, making every promise empty, pointing every finger at me. Waiting like a stalking butler who upon the finger rests, murdered now the past is it cost me just because the sun has come. Okay. Yeah, like if we go back and we have a look at these expressions, it's like someone who's broken and can't escape. Let's just rewatch this.
Murdered now the battle rusty, just because the sun has come. Mother Mary, won't you whisper
can see it in his you can see it in his eyes, you can see it in the physical expression. To me, it almost doesn't seem like something that's put on. It seems like a very immersive thing for him to be doing. He's fully connected to his lyrics, and then when he makes that more powerful sound, it sounds very connected. Like it doesn't sound throaty at all, which means his body connection, his connection to his body, his emotional connection to these lyrics must be very strong, because normally that alignment, if you don't have those other things working for you, probably would affect the vocal production. But I'm a little unsettled actually. So we're gonna keep going and see what happens, and I might recheck in with the lyrics at another point in time.
Just want to stop this over. Why can't we sleep forever? Just want to stop this over.
Like what that distortion on that guitar is doing. Listen to it. It feels like something unsettling's happening.
I am just a wordless liar. I am just an imbecile. I will only complicate you. Trust in me and all is well. I will find a center in you. I will chew it up and leave. I will work to elevate you. Just enough to break it down. Mother Mary, won't you whisper something from the past and done? Mother Mary, won't you whisper something about the past and done? Why can't we not be sober? I just want to start this over. Why can't we sleep forever? I just want to stop this over.
His physical connection and expression is insane. It's insane. Like vocally, what he's doing, he's not doing anything that would put him in like the vocal monster category in this particular song, because it's limited range and is mostly in his first register. But the things he's doing, playing with his phrasing, it almost sounds like he can't quite get the words out at times, and his intonation is sliding around in places, and it's fitting in perfectly with that music behind, and then his physical expression, like when he's ripping at his chest, it's like someone who's desperate to escape, and yet at the same time his eyes are like almost giving up at the end of that phrase. Like he's put all this energy into this section and he's gotten to the end of it and he's just I need to look at these lyrics again because this is messing me up. Why can't we not be sober? Just want to start this over. And why can't we drink forever? I just want to start this over. Okay. Yep. So this is, I suspected just off the body language, but I think those lyrics kind of cement that correlation with addiction or some kind of substance abuse in this particular song. Anyway, I will maybe explore my thoughts on that after we finish watching this.
I'm just a worthless liar. I'm just an imbecile. I will only complicate you. Trust in me and all is well. I will find a center in you. I will chew it up and leave. Trust me, trust me, trust me, trust me, trust me. Why can't we not be sober? I
Okay. He's producing a more powerful sound. This physical connection he's got going through his legs. Still first register. We've got a little bit of constriction going on through the throat. Watch his legs. Stamp, even though he's got these jitters going through his body, it's like he's grounding himself in some way. Tiny little things, ticks in his fingers, ticks in his eyes, in his legs. I don't know if it's him in that moment as well, or if this happened to someone who's close to him, but these lyrics they're a pretty brutal picture of the feeling that they might be experiencing in that moment. Wow, okay. Yeah, so vocally, there's not a whole heap different that he's doing, but his delivery of it is freaking everything in this particular song. We have these shudders in the sound. We've got the shudder through the body. We've got his expression, which his expression is probably the one that's hitting, like stabbing me the hardest in the chest, because it looks, with everything else that's going on, it looks and feels real. And I don't know what the story is in this particular case, but I mean, even looking at the lyrics of why can't we not be sober? Like, why do I have to be sober, basically? Not even why do I have to be sober, but do I have to be sober? Like, can I just not? Because I do think it is tricky with addiction. There's a struggle once you've been into a place of addiction to pull yourself out of that. And being sober is like, it's a lot easier to have like either not started it or to just be in it. Having gotten to know people who addiction is a significant part of their life, to the point where I actually don't know who this person would be if they were sober. How, if you think about it at all, how confronting must that be as well, to have been in that place for such a long period of time? Do you know who you are without that thing? And isn't it just easier to stay there? Like, it's a really complicated topic, because you have behavior which can come about from people on certain substances. And I think an example of that is the moment he started moving in that way, my first thought is something is wrong. Something is inhibiting his ability to function how I would expect another person to be functioning. And that's why I'm saying his physicality in this just seals the flippin' deal. It's not, I mean, people might screech about his posture, but in this particular performance, the posture is one of the first things that gave away to me that we might be dealing with something that is a little bit more intense, that is going to be perhaps a little bit more confronting. There's a lot going on in there. And yeah, God, I wouldn't even know how to unpack that. Thoughts of like, I am just a worthless liar. I am just an imbecile. I will only complicate you. Trust in me and fall as well. Like, these are challenging topics to discuss and dive into, because you have the person who is struggling with whatever they're going through, and then you have the people around them trying to help them. There's a risk in there, and it's just a super complicated topic. I don't know if I'm even capable of diving into it properly, so I'm probably just going to leave that one there. One last comment I wanted to make on the music. Towards the end, when he was saying, I want what I want, I want what I want, I want what I want, the music behind him was getting more and more frantic. So listening for this escalation in the music here as he's saying, I want what I want. Those hits at the end, this broken sense in the music that's been fairly consistent up until now. Just, I can see why this performance, perhaps for some people, might be quite confronting, because he doesn't look in control of himself, and yet there's moments where it seems like he's more aggressive and lashing out at himself, at the space in front of him. Like, this is an incredible performance. Like, the performance aspects itself are, God, I don't think he could have been more connected to those lyrics if he tried, to what he's trying to convey. Anything less than what he was doing right now, I don't know if it would land the same. I think if he did it differently, it would land completely differently to this particular setup because it's so connected in this particular format through the music, through his language, through his body's like movements and ticks and just yeah. Anyway, that is where I'm going to leave that one today. Holy dooly, what a little like musical, I don't want to say adventure, but holy dooly, is this a great example of how music can make us confront things that we might not normally ever either admit to ourselves or work through or anything. It allows us to express ourselves. And even the music from the very beginning had this expression that I was unsettled by. Anyways, I think that is where I'm going to leave that one today. This was performance-wise, it was a little confronting. I felt unsettled. It's not like the kind of confrontation where you like close your eyes. It's kind of like the confrontation where you open your eyes a little bit more because it's there and it's unexpected and it seems real. Hopefully you understand what it is that I'm talking about. The vocals are, there's nothing too insane that he's doing voice-wise in this particular setting. Even when he's in the verses, his intonation at times isn't even all that solid. The technical aspects of this, if you just look at them as technique itself, perhaps aren't all that fantastic, but you combine his storytelling, just forget the technical aspects, because if you sang those lines with more connection all the way from start to finish, it would not hit the same. I'm probably going to be thinking about this performance just on rotation for a little while until I can like fully flesh out my thoughts and reactions and feelings to it, because it's one of those ones I think has layers. If you would like more videos like this one, please be sure to give the video a like, click the subscribe button and the bell icon set to all. As usual, I hope you're staying safe. I hope you are staying healthy, and I will see you next time.